When you think about top consultants, it's easy to assume they're successful just because they're, well, geniuses, right? That they're just the smartest people in any room they walk into. But honestly, that's not really it.
The real secret, the thing that actually gives them an edge, isn't just raw brain power. It's how they think. They use a specific, super structured way to look at problems, and the best part is, it's a framework that anyone can learn.
And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. We're going to break down that framework for you. You'll get the mental toolkit these consultants use, so you can actually start using it in your own career, like tomorrow. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to cover the 6 pillars of consultant thinking. We'll talk about structuring chaos, asking the right question, letting data lead the way, focusing on real impact, communicating with clarity, and thinking in hypotheses. Let's get into it. Okay, pillar number 1, structure the chaos. Look, consultants, they do not like messy, vague, overwhelming problems. They can't stand them. Instead, their first instinct is to take that chaos and turn it into something organized, something manageable. So, while most of us might hear something like, ugh, performance is bad, and just feel overwhelmed, a consultant's brain immediately kicks into gear. They start breaking it down, looking for the smaller, individual pieces that make up that big, fuzzy problem.
So, what does bad performance actually mean? Is it a revenue problem? Are costs too high? Is there a bottleneck in operations? Or maybe it has something to do with customer behavior. See? By creating these different buckets, you suddenly take this vague complaint and turn it into something you can actually dig into and solve.
And this right here really gets to the core of it. Because when you structure a problem, you're doing more than just tidying up your thoughts. You're literally drawing a map. And believe it or not, just by drawing that map, you're already halfway to your destination.
All right, pillar number 2, ask the right question. Now, let's be honest, most of us have a tendency to jump straight to solutions, right? We hear a problem and our brain immediately starts brainstorming answers, often before we've even properly understood what the real problem is.
And check out this shift, because it's so subtle but so powerful. The common question is, how do we increase sales? That's all about solutions. But the better question, the consultant question, is, why are sales not growing? See the difference? That forces you to stop and diagnose the cause first. Just changing that one word from how to why completely changes the game.
And this is just so crucial because better questions always lead to better answers. Think about it. So many people waste time solving the wrong problem, all because they asked the wrong question at the very beginning. Getting that initial question right, it's probably the most important thing you can do.
Okay, pillar number 3. This is a big one. Let the data lead. This is where consultants really start to pull away from the crowd because they just don't do gut feelings or I think. They replace all of that with cold, hard evidence. I mean, just feel the difference between these two phrases. I think this is the issue. That's just an opinion, right? It's kind of weak. Anyone can argue with it. But when you say, the data shows this pattern, bam. That's a fact, that's solid ground, it's a real starting point for a productive conversation. And this line, it just says it all. Opinion is cheap. Everybody's got one. But real insight, the kind that actually leads to brilliant decisions, that has to be dug out of the data. But, and this is super important, it's not just about having the data. The real skill is figuring out the story the data is trying to tell you. Which leads us perfectly into pillar 4, focus on true impact. Consultants know a secret. Not all problems are worth solving. They are absolutely ruthless when it comes to prioritizing. They hunt for the one thing that's going to make the biggest difference and pour all their energy into that. You've probably heard of this. It's the 80-20 rule. The basic idea is that most of the time, a tiny portion of your efforts, let's say 20%, is responsible for the lion's share of your results, like 80%. The consultant's job? It's to be a detective and find that super powerful 20%. And this is such a great piece of advice for all of us, right? Stop trying to boil the ocean. Stop trying to fix everything. The real pro move is to find what actually moves the needle and then just hammer away at that. All right, pillar number 5, communicate with clarity. And let's be real for a second. You could have the most brilliant analysis in the history of the world, but if you can't explain it simply to a busy executive in 30 seconds, it's completely useless. This is why consultants are trained to cut out all the long, winding stories and get straight to the point. They use a super simple, powerful formula. It's basically, here's the problem, here's what's causing it, and here's what we should do.
That's it. It's direct, it's actionable, and it shows you respect their time.
And really, that's the bottom line, isn't it? If you can't explain your ideas simply, it's just not going to get approved. Simple communication isn't about dumbing things down. It's about building trust and making it incredibly easy for someone to say yes to your idea. Clarity is what turns good ideas into real-world action.
Okay, we've arrived at our final pillar. And honestly, this might be the most powerful trick in the entire consultant playbook. It's called thinking in hypotheses. The idea is that they never start from a blank slate. They don't just wander around looking at data randomly. They start with an educated guess. And this is what makes them so fast and efficient. Here's how it works. First, you form a hypothesis, an initial theory. Something like, I bet our sales are down because of that new pricing strategy. Then you go on a mission to find data that either proves or disproves that specific idea. If you're wrong, no big deal. You just form a new hypothesis and go again. If you're right, then you know exactly where to dig deeper.
Now, it's really important to get this straight. This isn't just random guessing. To an outsider, it might look like they're just throwing ideas out there, but they're not. They are forming educated hypotheses and then testing them like a scientist. It's basically the scientific method, but for business problems. And it gives them a clear direction right from the get-go.
So let's put it all together. Let's do a quick recap of how to think like a consultant. Number 1, structure the problem. 2, ask the right question. 3, use data, not your opinion. 4, focus on what's going to have the biggest impact. 5, communicate simply. And number 6, think in hypotheses.
Because at the end of the day, if there's one thing you take away from this, it should be this. A consultant's true value isn't in what they know. It's in how they think. And that structured, data-driven, impact-focused way of thinking, that's the real secret. And it's something you can start using anywhere, in any role, starting today.